A very good afternoon, everybody. So, more or less, I do see a good number of TDL codes coming in, tried codes, a lot of effort is going on building codes. That's a very positive sign. Well, we'll just have an overview of what we did yesterday. We learned about actions that we have in TDL, where we spoke about the behavior of the actions and the events or the keys that we have in TDL. As we had spoken about, TDL is an action-driven language. When the user operates the application and events are occurred, and the generated events are linked to a key or a button definition, and based on the key definition, the actions linked to the button or the key is what gets executed. There could be a series of actions that could be executed when we are calling, and each action can further execute a chain of actions. Then we spoke about the categorization of actions that we have, where we discussed about the object-specific actions and the global actions. Object-specific actions are those actions which work or have to perform an action execution on a specific object. When we speak about a global action, an action that is being performed on report, menu, or through a button. So, global actions are not specific to any interface object. The global actions can be originated from a menu, which we have already seen. Didn't we see that we have a display menu? Yes or no? Didn't we have that yesterday? Right? So yesterday we saw how we saw one thing that from based on the menu we could execute an action called display. Then we saw a display action. Then we also discussed about an display action from a button when we were discussing the button chapter. And field is what we are yet pending to be done, which we'll be doing shortly. Global actions are performed on a report on a menu. So an action can be originated from menu, button, or field, and this action is performed on a report or a menu. Then we have object-specific actions. These actions are specific to an interface object. These can be performed by menu, form, line, and field, and they are performed on associated interface object. For an example, if I am at my field and I press enter, the key is the enter key, and the action to be performed is field accept or move to the next field or field next. That's the action associated to that particular interface, where enter key has various behavior at each and every field, each and every interface object. So that is what we have to look into. So the action association, whether it's a global action or an object-specific action, the actions can be associated to menu, button, form, line, field. I repeat, the actions association can be done at menu, button, form, line, and field. So then we spoke about the action execution. We spoke about the action execution, the sequence that it will occur. So whenever an event occurs, the search for the originator starts from the report to the field, and it looks where this key is available. If the same key is available at two different interface objects, that is, it is also available at the form level and the line level, then the one in the lowest in the hierarchy will get the highest precedence as per the interface object component, as per the interface object hierarchy. report, form, part, line, field is my hierarchy. So if I have a same key action available at form and line and the field, the one which is in the lowest in the hierarchy gets the highest precedence. So if I have the key combination specified as Control A at form and at field and at line, then the highest priority will go to which one? Field. Absolutely right, Thomas. So, in case in any of these circumstances, you feel that your key is failing to perform the action provided by you, this could be a very valid reason. So for an object-specific actions, the search for the executed object will start from the field. So it looks for the search for the key starts from the report to the field for the originator. However, when it starts looking for the executor, it starts from the field, and the moment the executor is found, that particular interface object executes the action. So buttons or keys can be associated at report, form, line and field. But I just told that the actions can be associated at form, line and field. Didn't I just specify? Well, buttons are also associated at form and line. Keys we have is at form, line and field. However, there is something called as system keys. This set of system keys are associated to all reports that you create in Tally. If you would have noticed, there is something called as enter key that we pressed to do a field acceptance when we made our report yesterday. Correct? But did we write that action? No. So there are some basic keys that are available under system form keys, and these keys are associated to report every report that you define in TDL. You see this? There is something called as system form keys. There is a definition type called system form keys. So what does this definition basically do is, any new report definition that is introduced to TDL, the default keys that we have for TDL or for a report in TDL gets associated to that report, and it does its required task for form, line and field. Actions are executed with respect to the context of the requester and the executor. The requester is the object where we specify the key, and executor is the object on which the action will be performed. Most of the scenarios, the originator and the executor are same. However, again, there's a dependency in the cases where there are explicitly certain key combinations specified for performing some different actions. And then we saw the list of global actions: menu, create, display, alter, modify object, set object values, browse URL, create collection, display collection, and alter collection. We did see menu action, right? Yes or no? This is a question to everybody. I do see only selected people responding. Thank you. Then we saw about the display action. showing of my report. And then yesterday we did something called as display action. So if you can do a display collection, you can also do a create collection, alter collection, print collection. Similarly, if you're able to display, you'll be able to alter and you'll be able to create, right? Then we spoke about, discussed few object-specific actions, and then this is the important task we did, right? Where 3 new attributes of the collections were introduced: collection attribute trigger, collection attribute variable, and collection attribute report, where trigger accepts a report name as parameter and report also accepts a report name for parameter. Then why do we need 2 reports to be specified? At my collection level, why do I need to specify 2 reports? Trigger is also a report name. Report is also a report name. Then why do we need this? Why? What is the use of a trigger report? Okay, what's a trigger report? What's a trigger report? I require a trigger report. Absolutely right, Shahid. I require a trigger report in which I can display a list of my objects in a collection, that is the pop-up list, and based on the selection from this pop-up list, we have a display report. And that's what my report attribute at collection level helps me to do this. And the mediator or the element that helps me to pass my value from the trigger report to my display report is variable, right? So this is what we did yesterday. The trigger attribute can be used only with report, field, and collection definitions. The trigger attribute displays a report with a list of objects of collection. The object is selected in the trigger report. Variable holds this variable value of the selected object, and the report attribute displays the report values based on the variable values that is being passed from the selected object. Right? So we'll just have a quick look on the code that we had done yesterday. Everybody, please raise your hands who has tried yesterday's code. Muthu, Thomas, Shahid, Ali. Shahid, you haven't tried it yesterday? Okay. Why? Where did you face a difficulty on not being able to develop the code? Was there a what was the difficulty in not trying the code? Joseph? What was the difficulty when you, since you haven't raised your hand, why haven't you been able to do it? Shahid says I can do it, but you haven't done it, right? Okay, fine. So that means you'll do it. So it's there's no conceptual problem, right? Okay. Joseph. Joseph? Okay, fine. So we'll just, Joseph, no problem. So we'll just cover up what we had done yesterday, right? So this is how we started yesterday. We wrote our basic code, hash, menu definition type, menu definition name. What do I want to do? Add. What do you want to add? A key item. What is which item? Stock group. What is the key? G. When you press in stock group, what do you want to do? Display collection. What is the name of the collection? Stock group, group call. Right? So now this is the name of the collection that I would like to list. What is the type of this collection? Stock group. But I cannot have a collection. I cannot have a data object on its own. It has to flush to a user via an interface, and as per the Tally screens that we see, this interface is nothing but a field. This interface where we are having this pop-up list is nothing but a field. So I have my field, and on this field I say you need to show me the table. But the field, can a field exist on its own? Can a field exist on its own? No. It exists only if there is defined line. So we define a line with the attribute of the field. Can a line definition exist on its own? It is always in a path. Can a path exist on its own? It needs a form. Can a form exist on its own? It needs a report. Can a report exist on its own? Yes, it can. However, I need a connectivity to call this report. There is a connectivity. There is an action that I will require to call this report. How do I call this report? The only way out that we see today is my global action display collection can help me to do that because that's my starting point. So I want to trigger a report. Why not a report is because before I show this report, I want to bring up a list. So to make a clear identification between a report for selection and a report to showcase, we have two different attributes, and the attribute which is used for selection is called trigger attribute. Did you notice something? The moment I use the attribute trigger, the report that opened in front of us was in an alter mode, and I was able to type out things. So that's the feature of a trigger. You see this? I do not write alter, so this is a behavior of the trigger report that it allows me to pop up a report in an alter mode wherein my user can type. What do we do now? Based on the selection, we need to display a report. So the report, form, path, line, and field. But what do I want to show in this report? My object stock group, the one which I have selected. Now, how does an interface object know that there is a value that is being passed from a previous report and that is the value it has to use? How does my display report understand what value was selected in my previous report which I can use in this display report? What is the bridging element or the bridging component between an interface object and an interface object? The variable. So I have a variable and I define the variable under my system variable because I need to pass a value from an interface object to an interface object. But then this variable value should keep changing every time I enter this. Hence, at this field level, we modify the variable value. That means based on the selection we do, the variable value should change, and this changed variable value should get pushed to this report. Now, since this report and this report that we have, the trigger report and the display report that we have are connected through a common platform called collection, we provide the variable attribute, the common variable that we would be using between the trigger and the final report that we have. Clear? Is this clear to everybody? Joseph, are you clear about this? Right. Rest all the things that we have done is for more kind of the formatting behavior I have. Muthu, I see your hand raised. Do you have a question? Suffocation touch. Dilip, AC का ना वो वाला वो करे छोड़ो right. Okay, fine, Muthu. Right. So this was the question. So this was what we had done yesterday. Right. Then we also discussed about certain beautification attributes of the collection. Now this collection has to get displayed as a table, so it needs to have a title. Now, what columns do you want to view in your collection? Format $name and format $parent. So these will help me to showcase how many columns I want. And the comma 20 and 15 is to specify the column width. When you don't specify the column width, by default, it takes the maximum possible number of characters to show the column value. And in cases where we have long names, the table becomes too big. The table width becomes too vast to view. Hence, we will specify the width. So format $name. So $name is what will be shown on the stock group with the column width 20. Dilip, school side leke jana, please. Similarly, format $parent 15. Now this is for the table title. For providing the column title, we need to use the attribute subtitle. Clear? So to get this column title, we have subtitle. We can also do a sorting. Sort by default. Currently the default sorting will be on $name. We can change the sorting by default on $parent and then comma on $name. This is how we can change. At default is a keyword, internal default keyword, which means the moment we enter the report, what should be the sorting criteria. We'll just have a look. So it starts with the primary. So we'll give a reverse by adding minus. It is a descending order that the parent becomes. So we'll be able to see the difference. टेबल में sorting नहीं होता है, right? Then we spoke about the beautifications of the field where we have the table. By default, the table is not shown. You need to say show table always. The property has to be mentioned. The width of the field will be of 1 character and maximum number of characters allowed will be 50. So we need to specify both of them. Right? Then we made use of ## variable name to change the title of the report, connectivity of the report. Then we specified the system date. A function was used to fetch the current date, the current system date. Then we also added the list of all the stock items under the group, whether directly or indirectly, and this is how we showcased it. So I had asked the tryout code that you had to do was, similarly you had to fetch for the accounts group and the ledgers under the accounts group. Clear, everybody? Thomas, are you clear? Joseph, are you clear about this? Here we have made use of two object associations. One is at the report level, and one is at the line level with the help of repeat attribute. Right? Okay, so that is the action that we did. So let's start with creation of our own user-defined fields. So up till now, whatever we did was we just tried to fetch whatever was available in default, right? So what we did was up till now, we created reports, we called reports, we manipulated reports, we redesigned the reports, but all this was from the existing data that we had in Tally. Sufficient enough for my customers? No. Right? This is not sufficient enough. That's not what all customers want today. They want n number of things to be showcased, changed, added, removed, right? So this is where the user-defined fields come into picture. So when I say user-defined fields, basically the user is nobody but the developer. So developer defines new fields in Tally, helps users to give new storages, save data, and fetch the data. Right? So user-defined fields are storage components defined by the user. User means developers. Wherever the field exists, that is the object context of the storage. Now you understand how important it is about the object association. This is the importance of object association. Whichever report you go and you add the field, that is the object context of the storage. There is no explicit contexting required. The data types that are supported by Tally is string, amount, quantity, rate, date, number, logical, and rate of exchanges. And the UDFs have to be associated with one of the internal object, can be more than one internal object. Clear, everybody? Right? So there are storages defined by the developers, and wherever the storage is defined, it will take the object context. Didn't you see that I just made one field and I had it connected to a collection? If I change the object type, the fields used to pick the same data from that particular object. Same way it works with these storages. It just lists, it just checks which object context it is, and that's where it resides itself. So this is how a UDF is created. Anything that needs to be stored is under system definition, and that we want to store is a system UDF. This helps us to store the data. This is your storage name or the UDF name, the data type, and the index number to which the value needs to get connected or stored. Data type can be any data type of Tally that is specified as per the list. Index number can be any number. However, there has to be a limit, right? Even Microsoft Windows have a limit, so that we do have some limits. And this is the UDF allotment provided. Developers can use UDF numbers from 1 to 99, from 1 to 9,999, and from 20,001 to 59,999. Quite a huge amount of numbers which you can use. However, you cannot use an index number between 10,000 to 20,000, which have been reserved by TSPL for common development that we do for our customers. Yes, Rahman, you have a question? Shahad has a question. What is Tally database? Or do you mean to ask what kind of database does Tally use? Is that the question? Tally follows a flat file system. It's a flat file system to hold the data, which you can say it is a imaginary representation like an Excel sheet. So that is the point that I'm coming to. Now, don't you have a question here when I say 20,001 to 59,999? Which data type does it fall for? I said we can have data type of type string, string, number, date, logical, right? And there is an index number ranging from 20,001 to 59,999. Don't you have a question here? This 20,001 to 59,999, this index number is for each data type. So I can have a string data type which is from 20,001 to 59,999. I can have number data type which is from 20,001 to 59,999. I can have date from 20,001 to 59,999. So each data type indexing can be from 1 to 9,999 and from 20,001 to 59,999, which leaves you to 60,000 total UDF number indexing minus the 10,000 reserved for Tally development, which leaves you with 50,000 index numbering. Each data type, 50,000 index numbers are available for your utility. So this is how I create a UDF. These are the allotment numbers that I have for my UDF, and this is how I store it in my data. The only thing I need to do is locate the right interface where I want to add a new field. In that field, I provide a storage, and that's it. My data gets connected to that particular object and the value is saved. Please remember the field data type and the UDF data type has to be same. But then there's a question. I have stored this UDF. How do I call the value in this UDF? I have pushed my UDF, right? The value gets stored. How do I retrieve this? How do I retrieve a stored value? How did I retrieve the name of the stock item? What did I write at a set as? Absolutely, a method. And the method name is identified by which symbol? $8 sign. So this is my UDF defined. This is my UDF used for my storage, and this is my UDF to fetch my field value. Great, isn't it? Then we have simple UDF and aggregate UDF. Simple UDF can store one or more values of same data type. By default, the value is stored in the current context object based on which line or report you are associating it. Depending on the usage, it is either a single storage or a multiple storage. And in case it's a multiple value storage, you can create a collection for that, UDF. Then we have something called as compound. It is an aggregate UDF value which can hold multiple values of different data types. We just spoke about multiple values of a single data type. So we will start creating a little more better report that we have already done. Fine. So this is what we will do. Now you know what's a difficult task? The task isn't difficult anymore to create what we want, but the task gets difficult when you need to locate where you want to place it. So please be careful because there are multiple things involved today that we're going to learn. So first, I would change the try it out. I will create a new try it out and we'll make this try it out name as commission module. Save it, add a new file. I give it as a new name, commission module main. Save. Until now, what we were doing was we were adding projects, we were adding files to this project, and because of which we had to quit Tally and come back. So we'll do a very, very smart work. We'll have one main text file in which we say open square bracket, include, and I will provide a text file name, which we'll start from very basic name of that file. Enable commission module.txt. Obviously, it's going to give me an error because this txt still does not exist. So I'll create this txt in my folder. See? File is added. Generally, whenever we provide a functionality to our customer, we do not directly provide it on as in the module is enabled. We always provide an option whether he wants to enable or not, and only when he sets it to yes is when the module gets enabled, right? So we'll start like this. So in my accounting features, I will provide an option which says enable commission module, and only when the user clicks yes to it is when my commission module will get enabled. So where do I want to place my cursor? F11 accounting features, and we'll add it as a part of other features. We'll add it just after this line, enable company logo. Fair enough? Okay, so the task starts. Where do I want to add? I just want to add below this. So I know what I see might not what is available. So I'll try to find a text called enable company logo. In my Tally developer, I will try to find a text enable company logo. Open Tally developer, Control D, shortcut to find in files. I provide my text, enable company logo. Where do I find? In my default. Is everybody able to follow? Is everybody able to follow what we are doing? Great. So we're going to find it into the default. Find. We are lucky we just got one search. This is the line where it exists. Whenever, as I always keep telling you, I got this line. So copy, paste it back to my text, modify it, always validate, are we at the right location? So let me just give a border to it. I give a border to it to validate whether this is the line as per this. Do I get a box here or not is what I have to validate. Then my line is correct. So I'll just refresh my code. F12, TDL, F4, F11, accounting features. I have reached the right line. But I want to add a line after the company logo. I want to add something after this. So I do not want to actually modify this. I want to modify the part where this line exists. So what do I do? Control Alt D. My definition type line, its name is CMP. It's CMP company logo. In my default, check for its references, means which all definitions it has been referred to. I find it is referred in one of the part. This part is CMP ACC feet right. So I've got a part. Modify this part and validate whether you are at the right part or not. So background color red. So according to me, this part color should change to red if I have hit the right part. F11 accounting features, yes. So I am on to my target. So to this part, add line, and I said you need to maintain the naming conventions. So I say TSPL commission module. Now I need to define line. How many fields would I require here? How many fields would be required here? How many fields? Why? Thomas, you have said one. Why one field? And Shahid, you have said two. Why two fields? Absolutely right, Shahid. Thomas, we need two fields. Why two fields is one field to show the label, another field to push yes and no. So we need two fields. Absolutely correct. So I'll provide two fields. So here I'll say field TSPL module title and TSPL module B. Okay. Have you noticed something in this screen? Observe. Observation is very important. No matter what is the length of the string, the question marks that we have are right below each other. Correct? No matter what is the size of the text, the question marks are right below each other. So we wouldn't like to disturb the alignment, something that is good, looking good, by giving our question mark somewhere else. So what we would do is, we would check what exactly is being done at this particular field. So they have used a medium prompt to do the job. So we would also do the same task. We will make use of medium prompt to showcase our data. Local colon field colon medium prompt info. What info? Enable commission module, right? And this is the field where we will have our yes or no. What type of data would we hold here? I would request everybody to respond, do not to respond privately, but to respond to everyone. Rather than sending me a private responses, it would be better that you send to everyone. Absolutely right. I need the data type to be logical. And since I want to store this value, I need a storage. I provide a storage name commission module. Now this is a declaration that the storage is from this field, the storage will go. We need to provide a system UDF storage name, data type of the storage, and anything I can use from 20,001. Fine? Is this fine enough for everybody? Let us see how we can, whether this works or not. Okay? F12, TDL, F4, enter, accept, escape, go to F11, accounting features, yes, my data has been available. But if I delete, I am not getting the yes and the no table as I'm getting here. See? Here, I am getting a table of yes and no. But for my field, I am not getting any table. Moreover, I can type Y I am able to type anything. HN. Shouldn't I have a table here which shows me yes and no, so my user does not type anything? Yes or no? So what we can do is, we'll try to locate a table which has a title yes/no. So since again it's a title, Control D, yes/no. Find. I've got one table. The table name itself is yes/no table. We take this, at field level, table. Let's see whether I am getting my table or not. But rest all the fields are bold, but my field particularly isn't getting bold. So I'll have to provide a style which is normal bold. Yes, it's bold. Now let us make it no and save this. Is it stored? Yes. Let me just quit tally, come back. We'll have to always validate whether the values that we are pushing, whether it is storing or not. Select a company. F11, accounting features, my no is stored. Okay, so I save yes now. But if you look, we'll just have this look. I change this to no. I change this to, you see there's a little compression that is happening here of my yes. Why is this compression happening? Have I specified the width of this field? Absolutely right, Thomas. I need to specify the width. And it's a logical field, so 3 would be sufficient. And I will also have to specify the number of characters max. Now see the difference. Yes. No compression. No compression. Yes, no table. Mother, don't ask private questions so that, otherwise other people won't know your doubt. So there is a question that Muttu says, can we have multiple medium prompt in same line of so name won't conflict? No, we can't have. One line, one field of that name. I can reuse it in another line, but not the same field, not the same line. Clear? Is everybody able to get the question? The question says, in one line, can I have multiple medium prompt fields? This is the question. Can I have this? Answer is no. I cannot. I cannot have this. Not allowed. So is this clear to everybody? Obviously, rest all the things that we did for testing that we are at the right field. We will comment all the unrequired part of the code. Why we are commenting is we have still not completed what we want. How did we get the system UDF? Joseph, we typed it out. I provided a name in my storage and I just used that storage name. I typed it out. This storage name is defined by me and we have tried it out, typed it out. Now, what can we do further? If my commission module is enabled, why 20,001 and not 20,002? I can use anything between 20,001 to 59,999. So 45,823 will also work. Right, Joseph? It's not that you have to start from 20,001. I can also start from 45,823. Any number that I like. So you can use your numerology, what is good for you, and you can use a UDF if you want. What is the effect? I didn't get the question, Joseph. This is just an index number. This is where the value will store. This is for your, this is like a naming ceremony for the index number that you're doing for this particular data type. We can use the same index number for a different data type. We can use the same index number but for the different data type, not the same. Indexing is important. Without indexing, as I said, the entire TDL storage depends upon the indexing. So yes, indexing is important. You need it. Joseph said, must we give the value? This is not a value. It's an index number. So this is, it's like, with this index number, it will understand which column it has to push the data to. Something like that. Because it's a flat file system that Tally is following. In SQL, we don't have such because it's tables. But being a flat file system, we need to follow indexing. Right? So clear, everybody? Any doubts, any clarifications? But once the column is used, why should we use it again? Which column are you talking about? I'm not able to get you. It's not about, it is like, each column, you can consider as each column is a data type and each row is the index number. It's something like an Excel sheet that we are following. I'm not saying that it's an Excel sheet, but the flat file system to store data is something like the Excel sheet, kind of Excel sheet that we are following, where each column can be a data type and each row will be the index number. So it's not we should use, you can use. It's about can. It's not about the capability. It's not about the ability, sorry. It's not about the ability, it's about the capability. You can use the same index number for a different data type if you want to use. Allowed. So I have an index number from 1 to 99,999 and from 20,001 to 59,999 for my usage for each data type. However, I would suggest you to use everything about 20,001 because obviously there are a lot of TDLs running in market and some might have already occupied the old data types, because earlier initially we had only till 999. So the old TDLs in market might have already occupied from 1 to 999. So I would suggest you to use above the 999. That's just a suggestion. Well, as per the TDL norms, you can use anything from 1 to 9,999 and from 20,001 to 59,999. Right? Clear, everybody? Okay, so let us take the next step. If my user enables this, I want some feature like this. If this is no, the cursor simply moves. But if this is yes, my cursor opens a subform. So this is what I want to do. If the field value is yes, I want to open the subform. So what do we do? At the field level, give my subform and so when my cursor is on this field and it sets to yes, I want a subform to open. Are you able to get the requirement? Clear, everybody? Are you able to get the requirement? Right. So I have to have a form. But can a form exist without a report? No, right? So the subform attribute takes a name of a field, name of a report. Subform attribute takes a name of a report. It is a report name for execution. So we'll create one more file. where we will do commission agent listing, and we will include it into the main file. Right? So I will have a report form part line field. Right now we're just designing the basic skeleton of the report, so no worries. So that's okay. So this is my main file in which I have given a storage, the value stored, and if the field value is yes, a report should open. Right? Let's check whether I am able to get the report or not. F11, accounting features, enable commission module, yes. Yeah, my report is opening. No, the report shouldn't open. Still it is opening. So I will have to provide a condition that the report should open only if the field value is set to yes. I need to provide a condition that it should enable only if my field value is set to yes. Correct? So I can give a colon. This is an optional parameter. $value is the function to validate the current field value is equal to yes. Are you able to get what we have done? $value is the function which will validate the current field value. So I say $value, that is the current field, is equal to yes. Only then you need to open this sub form. Clear, everybody? Right? So we'll just check this, that only if the field value is yes, I should get the sub form. F11, accounting features, commission module no, doesn't open. Commission module yes, the form is opening. So my work is done. Right? So at least that is working. Now the next step. Was everybody able to follow up till now? Until this, why, what is the storage and how we give a single storage, right? So now we'll make changes to this report. Obviously, I will give a title. Agent commission agent name. How many agents do you want? 1, 2, 3, 4. How many? How many you want to create? 10, 20, 40. How many? Can you restrict a user to do that? Absolutely right. So when I want something in multiple lines which is not into my control, what do I need? Repeat my line on a collection, and this should scroll vertical. Now, which collection? Do we have a collection for this? Muthu, do we have the data in it? But we are talking about having unlimited agents, right? I do not have a fixed list of agents. The agents' names are unlimited. I want to allow my user to create his own agents. So I do not have a collection. Now for a collection to exist, I need to have an object. Do I have an object? I do not have an object. So what do we do? Fine, we'll see what we can do. So currently, before we even do this, we'll just keep this as comment and think what we can do. Meanwhile, we will provide a storage here. At least we will need the storage, correct? And we will say name. Or we'll give it as agent name. And we'll create it as a system UDF. Oops. String. And we say 4723. Oops, one. Right? So we'll see at least what we are getting for this field. So F12, TDL, F4, refresh, F11, accounting features, commission agent, yes. I am able to type only one letter. So what do we do? Max. So for max, we give 100. So am I able to type 100? Let's see. But then my field width is also becoming 100. I need to have some control on my field width, right? So we need to provide a width to this field, which shouldn't be, say, more than 30. So, is it saving? You're right. See, the value is saving. Shahid. Yes. The value is saving. There's no problem in saving the value, right? So now where the problem lies is saving multiple values. In TDL, when we are creating a UDF and we need to have a new creation values, we can use, if it's a simple collection that needs to be created. I'm making my statement very clear. If it's a simple collection that needs to be created, I can use the same same storage name as my collection. Here, my storage name is acting as my aggregate UDF. Clear, everybody, what we have done here? Yes, Muthu, it is something like an array. Something. It's not exactly an array, but if you want to, you can connect it to something called an array. Right? So we'll see how does this work for me. Okay? F12, TDL, F4, accept. F11, accounting features, yes. Shahid, oops. I did give scroll, right? Accounting features, MUTHU, but it is breaking in the first line itself. It's not allowing me to actually still provide multiple values. Why? The car wouldn't start. The engine will not allow you to begin until and unless you provide a brake. When you need to scroll and you give a repeat, somewhere you need to stop. So if you do not provide a stop signal, the go signal wouldn't start. So brake on when this storage value or the method name is empty. So $$ is empty. When this field storage value is empty is when it has to break. Now let's see the output. I saved it. Hold on your breath. Is it working? It's working. Great. I have a huge list going on, and I give a name. And by mistake, Muttu got repeated. Shahid, I could repeat those names. I do not. They should not repeat, right? Should they? Shouldn't they repeat? Should they repeat? Right. So to allow the user to enter only the value only once, we have an attribute called unique colon yes. Now look at the output. See? The unique attribute is validating the entire list. See? Clear with this, everybody? Why did we give unique? Why did we give break on? Why did we give scroll vertical? Why did we give repeat? Yes. Tally, space, and case insensitive. So, whether I write MUT space HU or I try to change the case, does not matter. Text value is same, it's same. Tally is case and space insensitive. Special or the noise characters are ignored in tally. Clear? Muthu, have I answered your question? So let's purify this report a bit. Let's see how does the price list look like in default. It has a title line and it has the number series running. So first we'll have a title line. So to this part, we will add another line line colon line name colon field name, then field definition. Now I need to ensure that whatever I have here, I have in this field because I need the dimensions. I don't need the storage, I don't need unique, I don't need width, but it has to be a text. Commission agents. Then my text has to be normal style, normal bold, and have a border at the bottom, thin, or let me make it thick bottom. Text should be aligned center, and there should be a little spacing between the top line and the bottom line. So space bottom, let us give a little different color to this power form. CLR and we'll make it little leaf green. So now let's see how it looks. Fine. But I need those numberings 1, 2, 3, 4. So to this line I need to add one more field. We'll call this field as SR number. Now, obviously, I do not know what would be its numbering, how many numbers will it appear. So it should count the lines automatically on which line it is. So the function to do that is $line. The function to retrieve the current line number is $line. Now look at this. And we'll do one more thing. Local field default color white. Oh, my cursor is also going on to my... This shouldn't happen, right? My cursor shouldn't go there. So we did have one, attribute to do that, right? What was that attribute? Info. Let us give an info. F11 accounting features, yes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 and it's going back to 1. 1, 1, 1, 1. It's repeating 1. Info is for labeling. It does not refresh the value on the fly when the report is in execution mode. So what will I have to do is, I will have to use a set as, but with an attribute called skip. So my value is refreshed, along with which my cursor does not skip, helps me not my cursor to go there. We make the style as normal bold. Let's have a look. Makes sense, but I need a dot here. So what do I do is, plus dot, and I say space right 0.5 and width to be 0.5. The width to be 3. F11 accounting features. Why my numbers are not displaying? Just before I added a dot, the number was displaying. Now, as soon as I added the dot, the numbers are not getting displayed. Why? Absolutely right. I need to do the data type casting. So just before $$ line, I will have to write $$ string that converts my $$ line that is of type number to type string. Now let's look at the look output. F12 TDL F4. F11, F1, control and enter. So is this what I want? Can I see it on my screen? See, generally, most of the cases what happens is, you see, this is the text, the first letter of the text should at least become, automatically the case should go up, right? So at this field, we do also have something called as case, and you can select what case you want. And we say proper case. And then F12, TDL F4, refresh, F11, F1, knock home. You see the case, the wonder that the case did? Have you noticed one more thing that is happening here is, this column is 30, this column is 30, but plus 3 with the point space is because of which this particular field isn't coming properly. So at the above field, I will say full width, yes. Now let's look at the output. Oh, but it's covering my entire screen. I do not want that to happen. So to control this, at form level, we will provide a restricted width of, say, 40% screen, and the height should be, say, 65, or make it 70% of the screen. Oh, I need some better height. And 40 is too much, so I make it 25% of the screen. The dimensions are always on a hit and trial basis on the base what the output is. Yeah, this looks something good. Good enough? Saving, is it happening? Yes. Quit, tally, come back. Am I still getting the values? This is what we have to check now. F11 accounting features. Yes. Does anybody have a question here? Does anybody have a question here? No? Fine, then I'm asking you the question. What is the object context? What is the object context of this report? Every storage that you create has to be linked or is in the context of one of the internal object. Shahid, agent name is not the object context. That's the storage name that we have. Which internal object context is it linked to? Which internal object? Where did we add the value? Where did we add this? Accounting features. Great. Is the accounting features linked to your ledger? Or your stock item? The question basically I want to ask is, to what is your accounting feature linked to? Masters. But which master? I have so many masters. I have ledger master, I have stock item master, I have stock group master, I have company master, I have voucher, I have voucher type, so many masters. Which master? Has to be an internal master. Which type of master? Shahid, why do you think it's a company? And Joseph, why do you think it's accounting masters? Because in accounts master or accounting master also I have something called as ledger, group, voucher type, currency, budgets, scenarios, cost center, cost category, all these are accounting masters. So which accounting master? Ledger, sales ledger. Can you tell me, we have so many options in the S11 feature, which feature is pertaining to your sales ledger? The question is object type, Thomas. The question is, to which object type does this report link to? No, it's not all masters. It is a specific object it gets linked to. Shahid, why do you think it's a company master? See, each feature will enable something in your masters, right? But this, where does this feature exist? Shahid says it's in the company master. Shahid, why do you say it's a company master? Any specific reason to it? chat says he thinks it's a company master because it affects company, because it is for the specific company. The answer is correct. It is the company master because all these features enable affects your other masters and your your other masters and your vouchers. It affects other objects or the reports that you create on those objects. And the features that we have, each feature, whether it's account feature, inventory feature, statutory feature, or TallyNet feature, or audit feature, or add-ons, these are company-specific features. So each company you create has its own set of features. Hence, this that you have connected, this yes and no, is in company master, and this is like a sub-collection in your company object. Are you able to get what we spoke about just now? Why? Correct. So, now, remember something we spoke about, secondary collections? Yes or no? Do you remember we spoke about something called as secondary collections? Yes or no? There was something called as primary collection, and there's something called as secondary collections. Yes, Ali, do you remember? Muttu, what is secondary collection? What's a secondary collection? Or can you give me an example of a secondary collection that we have discussed? A collection within a collection? No, it's not a secondary collection. That's a sub-collection. Bill allocation is a sub-collection. No, user-defined collection is not a secondary collection. You remember I showed you an example to get vouchers of a specific voucher type? First we used filter and then we used child of. Yes or no? Right. So the first one that we wrote, that is type : voucher, filter for specific voucher type, was primary. The second one that we wrote, type : vouchers of the voucher type and the child of, is the secondary collection type. Correct? So this commission agent that we have is a secondary collection or probably a sub-collection under my company pro object. So if I want a collection of this, see, this will act as a UDF. The one that we have is acting as a storage name. This is UDF, aggregate UDF. Now I have to make a collection of this. So when I have to make a collection to get that particular list of agents, since it's a secondary collection and not a primary collection, collection, agent name list, type, colon, my repeat line UDF name, colon, my primary object company. Now, because it's a secondary collection, a child of is important or required. Child of which company? And obviously, SV current company. And this does not require a belongs to because it is a second sub-collection. It's a sub-collection. Is this clear to everybody? Understood how this collection is coming to picture? Everybody understood the construct of this collection? Joseph, may I know who is this person joined from SCI? May I know the person's name who has joined from SCI? Fine. So this is two things that we have done. One, we gave a yes and no to get the listing. Two, we created a list of agents. Now I'll do the third thing by providing more details to this agent list. I will create a report which will allow me to select the name of the agent. I will then push the date of birth, date of joining, and the commission percent allowed to this agent. Is my requirement statement clear? Is my requirement statement clear? We'll be creating a report in which I will list this agent name. I will select the agent name. Then I will provide the date of birth, date of joining, and then I will provide a commission percentage to this particular agent. Clear? Is the requirement clear now? Right? So I will require a report for that to enter all these values, but this report would be in an editable mode, edit mode, right? So what we will do is, on Gateway of Tally, under this master indent, just below the quick setup, or just above this transaction indent. So between this, we will add a new master which allows me to push in my agent details. Okay, so the first thing that I will have to search would be this text called quick setup, because this is where I want to place it, correct? But by this time I've already known there is a menu called Gateway of Tally in which I can locate it. So first I'll create a text file. I will say commission agent details. The text is added. Control J, menu, gateway of tally, and I will be adding it just after at LOC quick setup. So first hash my menu, add key item where before what? At LOC quick setup, what is your item name? Agent info. What would be your shortcut key? Let us just check if I can have something. Can I use G? Yes, A obviously not. G is what I can use. So colon G. What do you want to do when I hit enter on this? I want to create agent details. But as I said, every report has to exist in the context of an internal data object. To which internal data object will you connect this report to? Is it related to your ledger? If you say ledger, then you will have to give a ledger name also. The agent details will be specific to my company. So I will add this to my existing company. But since my company master is the universe holder of my tally company, I cannot create an object called company inside the company object. What I can do is I can alter an existing company object. So for this report, object, which object? Company object. Which company? Current company. Understood this? the title, agent detail. Have you understood the reason why I'm using alter and not create? Company object is the master of understanding the creation of other masters like the ledger, group, and so on. So I cannot create another company object within the company object. So I am altering the existing company object, and whatever values I want, I will be pushing it under the company object as a sub-collection. Clear, everybody? Joseph says, why? Why means this is for yes, or this is a question why? Okay. I need to ask, right? When you say why, it's whether it's a question or it's for yes. I mean, there's nothing to laugh upon. Okay. So I have a report which will have a form, which will have a part, now this part will have two lines. One is the title line and one will be the multiple repeated line that we need. So first the title line. So first we'll design the title line. But shouldn't my title line be in alignment with my body line? So what we will do is we'll create the body line and use that in my title line. So here I will say use whatever fields I have here, and since it would be the title line, I will provide a border called pick bottom. So I have the titles. Okay. How many fields would I need? How many fields would I need? Why two? I need three, no? One for the name, one for the date of joining, and one will be for my commission percent. So I need three fields. So fields, agent detail name, BOJ date of joining, and commission percent. Fine. These fields get there automatically enabled. I will have three definitions. Right? So the basic structure of this report is ready. This is the basic skeleton of the report ready. Right. Here I will have a storage. Right? Don't I have to store the value? So storage. I will give it as something that I haven't used earlier. Commission module, agent name is used, so AC name I can use for this. System UDF. What type of data will this be? Data type. I'm going to hold the name. Yes, it will be string. 25,100. Storage. ACDOJ. What will be the data type? It's data joining. Date. I take 25,100 and storage AC per. This would be number. Please note, I am just taking these numbers for consistency and showing that I can have same index number for all the data types. However, this could be can be any index number, but as per the coding standards that I have been following for past so many years, the general scenarios that I follow is I try to keep the number within the same range so I do not face problems, at least in not my own code. Okay. However, we have already seen whenever I create a new field and I simply provide these storages, I need to provide width 30, max 100, and for date of joining, width 15, max, 2, 4, 8, 9, 10, max allowed 12. Percentage, nobody gives a percentage more than 100%. So again, the width of the field we would give as 10. And the max characters allowed, we wouldn't give more than 3. So nobody can give more than 999 at this particular field. Then I will localize these fields here to provide me the information. Local colon field name. Local colon field name colon info agent name local colon field colon info date of joining local colon field colon agent commission percent info colon commission percent. Right? Let's see now what's the output of this. Hopefully to some extent no error. Let's see. F12, TDL, F4. Did I get my text? Here it is. Agent info. Enter. Agent field DOG, type for the field and storage conflicts. What is the error now? By default, every field is of type string, but the storage type here is date. So I need to specify type date, and similarly here I need to specify type number. Understood? Did you understand what was the error? It said that the storage that I have conflicts with the data type available in the field. The storage data type is date, but by default every field data type is string. So if I have to give the storage, it has to be of type date. I need to specify that. Now let us execute the code. उधर बैठ के बात नहीं कर सकता रिसेप्शन पे, घूम घूम के बात करना जरूरी है। दिलीप मुझे से पानी भर के देना। Select accounts info. Oh, you see this? My storage isn't working. My info label aren't working. See. You see, my labeling are not working. What could be the reason? These fields individually have storages, but my title line shouldn't have storages, right? So I need to say local field default delete storage, then what else? Delete storage is sufficient enough. You see this? Then by default type would be string, then text would be style would be normal bold, then alignment should be center, and line should be 0 so that I get my commission percent broken up so I then can see it clearly. Now let's have a look at my visual. Great. But I want to have the table, right? I do not want the person to type the name at this field. I do not want the person to type the field. So I need table. What is the name of the table? The one which we created in the previous report, that is this table. And since we're going to display this as a table, we need a title for it. And we say list of agents and show table always. Now let's see how does it work. F12 TDL F4. That's not working. Why? The collection name, copy. So what could be the reason of for my table not getting displayed? Is my field wrong? What could be the reason? Let us just do one thing. We'll quit and we'll restart and check. No, it's not displaying. What could be the reason? It's there. The file is there in the main file. So when we are not very sure of what could be the reason, what can we do? This is always a hit and trial thing that we do. Repeat the line. So what we'll do is, currently we'll just comment all these storages that we have. We will repeat line on the collection and scroll it vertical to check at least am I getting my values in this collection or not. And I think if it has to do as is working. SATAS has no problem. So what could be the reason the code not working? Any guesses? What is important for a table to exist? As a table, a collection is there, a title is there, a type is there, the child of is there. Format $agent name with 20. This is not a TDL collection, it's a user collection, and without the format, how will the collection know which column has to get displayed? Shahid, we are not talking about the repeat line, we are talking about the table display, and the table does not have aggregate. For a table to show a value in the column, collection, attribute format has to be used. Now let us check. Now what does it work? I will just comment this repeat line. Understood. How to troubleshoot the problems. Great. Now I am still stuck with my important thing. Is single storage happening? Yes. So I change this to Thomas and I put this as 5 and put this as 8. Is the individual value storing? Yes. So now what I need is repeat a line, scroll it vertical, but on what will I repeat my line? Now this is a UDF values that I want to store. So I cannot have an internal collection. The previous one I used my storage as my UDF repeat line, but that was because I was storing single value. But now I need to store values of different data types. These different data type values can be stored only through aggregate, and we have a data type called aggregate, which helps me to do the job. Clear, everybody? This is an aggregate UDF, as we have to store multiple data types. So I have given a repeat, I have given a scroll, I have the table, and since I am having a table, what we will do is from my title line, I will locally delete the table also, so futuristic no problem should occur. Right, let's refresh and check, does this work? Okay, date of joining, commission percent. Oh, it's breaking. Why? Why is it breaking? I have given a repeat, I have given a scroll, till it breaks. Why? Can a car start without a break? Where to give a break? Where do I give a break? Don't say it on the scroll, say it is at the path level. A break on condition to be provided at the path level. Good. Break. What should be my break criteria? What should be my break criteria? the agent's name should be, okay, dollar AC name should be, come on, dollar AC name should be empty. Can it be empty? I have a table selection there. So what do I do? Think. I cannot, the AC name cannot be empty because it is a table. So that no given point of time it can be empty. Because the table will keep popping up. So I cannot have empty as my condition. Only when I have to key in, when there is no table, I can type out, then yes, I can have an dollar is, it's not in empty, Shahid, it is empty. Then I can have that condition. Muthu says last. I mean, sorry, I couldn't get the solution that you're trying to give. Think. Default, how does it work in default? When you are passing a voucher and you are, it's a sales voucher, you are selecting the stock items. When does it break? Here, accounting vouchers, F8, I am selecting a party name, dealers, I have the stock item. When does it break? It breaks when it is end of list. Absolutely right, LA. But does my collection have is end of list? Does my collection have end of list? So there is a table called end of list. At field level, after my existing table, I will give a comma and I can add multiple collections to it. And here I will say end of list. The name of the collection itself is end of list. So you can validate it. Control J, collection, end of list. You see we have a collection by that name. Every system variable, we have a collection, end of list, all items, not applicable, everything. Okay, so now I have two tables in the field. One is my table, one is the default table which says end of list. And my criteria for the breaking condition will be dollar is end of list. Ali, are you clear with this? What we are doing? Now see. Ali, date of joining, say it is 2-1998. Commission percent, say 85. Ratna, say joined on 6th of October 2010. Commission percent 3. So, and when I click on end of list, oh, my cursor is still going to date of joining, 1. 2, the percent sign should come here, right? The percent sign should come here, and my cursor should not go to these two fields as soon as I select end of list here. So what is the attribute that I taught you for the cursor not to go to the field? Absolutely right. So at my other two fields, I will write skip when $$ is end of list $AC name. Now let's have a look. And a percentage I need format percentage or percent is sufficient. Now this, then Joseph, say 2-9-1990, 1%, Ratna, say on 9th November 2005, 0.5%, end of list, accept. Does it work? It does. Can I select Ratna again? I am able to do that. Now my system gets confused. When it looks at the list, it has Ratna twice. So what do I do? Unique attribute. At which field should I use the unique attribute? Which field? Absolutely 9, the field at this storage. So, anything else that we can do to this? We are able to do that, right? So, we've done this, we're done with this, we're done with this, we're done with this, done with this. Aggregate UDF, subform creation, entering values in subform, repeated aggregate UDF, and that's all we have for user-defined fields. Isn't it simple? Yes, no. Simple, isn't it? We were able to do it, right? TDL is actually very simple. You question it and the answer is do it. It should be unique. So to the field you add unique : yes. It should be of type date. So storage also date, field also date. It needs a percentage. It should be percentage. Right? Okay. Now, there has to be certain validations. For example, I shouldn't have my date. I can also put as one 4/1900. Will this person be alive? Person was born in 1901. Can he work? So what we can do is, we will provide a criteria calculating from today's year max the age of that person shouldn't be more than 60 as per the year we will calculate. Okay. Did you understand what I'm trying to say? So we'll do that calculation. Moreover, at any given point of time, as far as I understand, we will never have a commission percentage more than 25. I think generally no commission person will give more than 25, right? So if somebody is giving you 85, I am able to do that. And I am also able to give 0.5 percentage. So what we will do is, we'll give a range that shouldn't be less than 1% or probably 3% and shouldn't be more than 25%. What say? Okay, we'll do this. Or you want to take a break and we shall continue this tomorrow? Shall we continue or we can do it tomorrow? One person saying tomorrow, so do I say rest means today? Okay, fine. So we have 1 and 2 people. What about others? Okay, Shahad has a question. Can we store agent name like a ledger master? Shahad, we can do that. However, then it has to still be linked to one of the internal master. If you see, we have a payroll info where we are creating employees, but each of those employees is nothing but a cost center. Okay, so agent name also similarly you can create like a ledger. Not a problem. Absolutely fine. You can do that. Yes, single. That's what we are doing for a cost center payroll, right? Payroll info. But what we have done is, for that, you need to see the logic that we have done for the employee. That's because the cost center that we have, yes, we are using the cost center master here. So you can check what we are doing here. Check this out. Actually, what you ask is a very good requirement. You can check this part out. The only difficulty that you will have with the ledger is, every ledger has to have a parent. And when you start having a parent, it starts affecting your accounts info reports. So it gets difficult to have that. Okay. So yes, you can have, but it will get difficult. So suggested wouldn't be the ledger master. You can use any other master for which Providing a parent name is not important. Okay, fine. Anything else? Will you show tomorrow? No, I am not going to show that tomorrow. That is your exercise to be done. You have to study the default master. Study the default master, see what is happening, and you have to tell me tomorrow how is it done. Fine. Okay, Shahid. You have to. You have to do it. Okay. So I am closing for the day. We'll close for the day. We'll do validations and controls tomorrow. And then we'll go on to the report making and printing of those reports. Fine. So that's what we will do tomorrow. Okay? Done? So if you have any questions, you can shoot or we can close for the day. Thank you, Joseph. Joseph, I'm expecting you to give me your codes. Right? So if you have questions, you can ask me or else we can start winding up the session for the day. Any questions? If no questions, please start leaving the session. No, Shahid. Tomorrow is not the last day of class. We will be having it on Monday also because we have been delayed already by 2 days. So we'll have to extend this class for Monday. That is 10th. So even if we have to stretch a little on Monday, we will continue. I will be sending you the mailer. Okay? Right. So start leaving the sessions, people who do not have questions. And tomorrow is not the last day of class. We'll have to continue on Monday. And if required, we'll stretch on Monday. Okay. Thanks, Sally. Bye. Have a nice day. There's a very good question. Muthu has asked, will we get support after the session and whether it's a free or a paid support? Yes, Muthu, we do have a support desk that is in support.tallydeveloper@tallysolutions.com. However, the support is provided only to the paid users of Tally development environment. So you will have to have a valid license. Could be an evaluation license or could be a paid license. Either is okay, but you will have to have an license. But as I understand, international partners, we do not have an evaluation license. You will have to procure the license. We have a dedicated support desk for it. TDE is a zero product cost. It's an annual subscription. So it has to have a valid subscription. The cost that you see is an annual subscription. It does not have a product cost. Fine, Muthu? Okay, thank you, Shahid. Bye, Muthu. See you tomorrow. Have a nice day.